we have an special guest, but also a returning one today on the podcast, and it's Bill Cushing.
And good to be back. I was happy to see your invite, although I
Yeah,
sort of horned in
me too.
myself.
Yeah, you did, but still, I was like, I was like going through the list and like of the Google sheet, and I was like, oh, I was reading. I was like, oh, Bill Cushing. Oh, he wants to come back, so I can like pick a bone with you about the WJ strike, like what you said in the last episode.
Yeah, well, like I said, I always kind of think it's in bad taste to start demanding more money when a lot of people are out of work. It's just, I mean, they may have got the contract that the contract they wanted, but uh, settle back once in a while. There's a time and place, and that was definitely not the time.
Anyways, so,
Anyway,
um, we were talking about the Oscars like off camera, and then it was like the conversation was really, really good because we like jumped from
yeah.
obvious thing to thing. So yeah, let's talk about the Oscars. Were you surprised? I know you haven't really watched many of the movies, but were you surprised or like
Not really. Like I said, is Oppenheimer was this year's Lord of the Rings. Although I did a little research, and actually it's closer to Schindler's List because winning seven. I mean, Lord of the Rings won, what, 13 or something like that. But I was very pleased to see Poor Things do as well as it did. I really I enjoyed that movie. I was glad Emma Stone got her Oscar out of it. Um, it's a, it's, I always say it's like delving into a Salvador Dali painting. Uh,
mhm,
and it was just a really great story. And
yeah.
I think what was most interesting was watching a lot of people complained about the fairly overt sexuality of it. But I was like, I think that's important because you're watching this, well, really baby. I mean, she starts out as a kid, like a 5 or 6 year old, and watch her go from like a, 6 year old kid to a 30-year-old woman in the course of that time span of whatever it was. It's only a couple of years that she's away, and watching her develop and how she alters herself, not just physically in terms of how she walks and talks and behaves, but also how she looked and how
Hmm.
she thought. And there was a lot about that movie I just thought was so much fun. And it's funny because I'm almost glad I didn't know it was the director of The Lobster,
Oh.
because I tried watching that movie and I got about 15 minutes in and I was just like, no, this is just not interesting me at all. And I think if I had known that beforehand, I might have been a little more reluctant to watch it. So I went in ignorant of that fact, and I think that helped a lot. And I thought he did a great job in this
Yeah, and like to me, the whole time I had to think about like Frankenstein and the
one. Yeah,
doctor, and it was really cool. Like it's like mostly in black and white, and then it has like part, and
yeah,
also remind me of this like a Wes Anderson movie, meaning like it looked like he played
very much. Yeah, that was funny too. I was thinking of that too. And
like
speaking of
it
Wes
really.
Anderson, I had not seen his wonderful story of Henry Sugar,
Oh my God, you have to. It's
and
such a
that
great.
won the. And I was like, oh, I didn't know he did a short. I gotta watch. I gotta find that and watch it.
Mhm. I
But
really
yeah,
enjoyed that, and also like it felt like a Wes Anderson movie, but also like the Frankenstein
yeah, the Frankenstein
remake,
aspect,
but
although it was
also
reversed because the
yeah.
doctor was the disfigured one and outside of a few scars.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to get involved in spoilers here for anybody who might be
I
watching.
would say like spoiler alert.
Okay, yeah, well, let's put a spoiler alert. The one disappointment I had at the end was I was hoping she would take Godfrey's brain and put it into her ex-husband
That,
and let
that
him live
that's
a
also
normal
why
life.
what I was like thinking as well. I was like, why? Like it was a missed opportunity.
I mean, I thought it was funny doing that to him, but at the same time, I was like, we got a perfectly good body here, and this poor guy has gone through real hell in his life, let him have a chance at normality a little bit, which would have been fun to watch. But anyway, that's my only complaint on the whole thing. Like
But
otherwise,
it was
it
really good.
was
Like
damn good. I mean,
also like the
Buffalo was great.
hmm
Defoe, of course, is always fun to watch. Uh, and I love Emma Stone. I have to
yeah,
admit, I'm a
me
big
too.
fan of hers.
And like the subtle like jabs at the society and
Yeah,
then like the whole like boat scene, it was really really cool, like because the most majority of the movie is like black and white, and then
yeah,
it's like colored, and then you're like hmm? Like
yeah,
I forgot that I was watching Poor Things because I was like, wait a minute.
yeah. No, it's a wonderful movie.
But
I
it's
think
really really
one of the surprises, a pleasant surprise for me, I got out of the Oscars was, and even though it didn't win, but that movie, The Creator, was nominated
hmm.
for some. And and based on that, I went and watched that movie, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that movie. I thought it starts out as a standard sci-fi, us against the robots type of thing. And then I don't know, have you seen that one?
I have seen it, but I didn't like
Okay.
it.
But
I
the
just
the
didn't like
end,
it.
the surprise ending, the twist ending on what the ultimate weapon actually was, I thought was a really neat. I don't recall ever seeing that, take on it before. Uh, so yeah, I thought that was a fun one to watch. I was really, I'm glad that the Oscars, and that's one of the things I like about the Oscars is seeing who's nominated and going and watching some of these things that I might not have ever seen had I
Hmm.
not known of them. Or
I think like what it was like really
you said you
good.
didn't actually.
No, I didn't like it. To me, it's because like to me it felt like it's like going around circles, and then it really
Was
like
this The Creator?
yeah. I was like
Okay,
I guess I like expected more. I don't know
yeah.
why, but I didn't really get much of it. But like
Well, since I didn't have any expectations,
uh,
it didn't bother me.
I had
Yeah.
expectations, and none of them were met. Anyways, so like one thing about the Oscars I love is that this year really reminded me of like the year in 2020, 2021, because like so many amazing movies were like released, and
Hmm.
it was really cool. Like I was like rooting for one movie, and then but then I was like rooting for another movie, and then
Yeah.
that movie won. I was like it was very difficult to root for a movie this time.
Yeah.
And also one thing is like here in Austria and Germany and Switzerland, you you were able to watch almost every single nominated movie this time, like on Prime Video.
Okay.
Ferrari, American Fiction, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon. It was really cool. Like
I have not seen Flower Moon yet, and I really want to, and I haven't. I have to admit.
it's
Uh,
long, but it's really really
well,
good.
yeah, but well, from what I can see, though, it's not as long or draining mentally as The Irishman was. That was just, it was like, come on, Martin, you can do better than this. Uh, and from what I understand of Killers of the Flower Moon, it is a much better movie. So I will
Oh yeah,
watch
it is, and it's like
that.
so beautifully shot and.
American Fiction, I absolutely loved. But as a writer and somebody who teaches
Mhm,
college, I sort of identified with that. Uh,
mhm.
I will say this, the two disappointments I had when one was in the broadcast, and you said you didn't watch it, so
I mean, I didn't watch it, but I watched like some bits and
some clips of
pieces.
it. Okay, when that Japanese company won for the Godzilla, the visual effects,
Mhm,
they got up there. Now the guy is reading a prepared statement,
mhm.
and it looked like it was fairly short, but he was having problems. English is not his first language, and he was trying to get through it. And then they start playing the music. I'm like, come on, give the guy a break. Let him finish his thank yous.
Oh no.
I mean, these guys did a great job apparently on that
Mhm.
movie. They won the Oscar. It's clear that he's just having a problem getting through the English. So let him finish.
Yeah,
Come on.
but like with that one, I've heard like the VFX people were like
Yeah.
in their teens, and then they won. I was very emotional about that.
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm glad to see it, but I was like, come on, Academy, let them finish this.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you.
it's finished. But
The
I
other
also
disappointment I had was that I wasn't surprised with the outcome that Murphy won the Best Actor, but I was really rooting for Paul Giamatti. I don't know if you've seen The
no, I
Holdovers.
haven't, but I have only heard good things about this
It's
movie.
the movie is great. He is great. He's at the top of his game in that film. And I was like, look, Killian was, I mean, I thought he was good in Oppenheimer, but I think you could have dropped any decent actor in there. I mean, if you put Robert Downey Jr. in there, you could have had a great performance. If you
But
put
he
Gary
was
Oldman
really
in
good
there,
as
I mean,
Strauss.
yeah. Well, that was, Emily Blunt.
Yeah,
I
she
thought
was
she was,
also good.
I thought she was kind of wasted in that movie because, like, look, you got
Oh
Emily
yeah,
Blunt
yeah, she
there.
does. Oopsies,
Use
spoiler.
her, put her to work. But and here again, I have to admit I'm a big fan of hers. And by the way, before we went on, you were asking what movies I'm looking forward to, and that's
Mhm.
one of them is The Fall Guy,
Me too.
which has her and Ryan Gosling in it, and
Mhm.
I think that looks like it'll be a real good one.
Yep.
Which I thought was cool because during the broadcast, the two of them came out and did a talk about the stunt people and the work they do, and I was like, oh, this is a good way to plug the new movie. That is one I'm definitely looking forward to.
Me too. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it, there were no great surprises. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, most people expected Oppenheimer to do well.
It
Uh,
did.
and
Even even like my sister was like, "Did you hear Oppenheimer won 10 awards?" I was like, "I know it was nominated more for more."
well, Christopher Nolan is a great director, and I'm glad to
Mm-hmm.
see he got that for it, certainly. And, Best Picture, I think I would have probably given it to Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not having seen the other entries, all of them. I mean, I'd seen American Fiction, I'd seen The Holdovers. Uh, what were the other ones that were there? Uh,
Um,
Best Picture.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
I have not seen Anatomy of a Fall, which
Oh yeah,
sounds
me
great.
too.
I want to absolutely see Zone of Interest.
Me
Uh,
too, but like it's so like ugh. It's so
I think, well, I have a particular interest in that area of history. And what I heard, and I didn't surprise me, they won Best Sound because they said that one of the standout parts of the movie was
Mhm.
the difference of these people living this very sedate life while just beyond their walls are these horrific sounds going on. And
Or
so,
like I've heard that there's this like one scene in there that the sound completely like goes away,
oh,
and
okay.
then you really like understand the it's like the sound like go away, and then you really like
Yeah.
understand what the importance of sound. But like as someone who has who I'm like very close to that place, so
Yeah.
and obviously as a student we had to like go to the Austrian one, and we
Oh,
went
okay.
there, and I because I went to like 2 or 3 times. I had to due to school, and
Hmm.
so I know like when I'm watching it, I will go back because I went back. Like I physically, I when we like were learning about that and we like
Yeah.
went to that place, I felt so uncomfortable. I was like, I felt as if I was there. I was about to like go through every single step that
Mm,
we went, and even like the showering place,
yeah.
like we actually physically went there, and so
Oh, okay.
I'm not really comfortable watching that movie,
Yeah.
even though I want to watch it, and I don't really think I will be able to.
Yeah.
I don't like
Well,
want to
that's
go
one
back.
that's definitely on my list to look up.
Mhm.
And yeah, that actually Anatomy of a Fall sounds very good. It sounds more
Mhm.
cerebral than anything else. Uh,
I found it very funny that Jimmy Kimmel like made fun of Americans not being able to see the U word, like the U, because of
yeah,
some because of Sandra Hüller.
but uh, but in general, yeah, um, I thought this year was not bad. And like
Mhm.
I say, I was glad to see Poor Things do as well as it did. Uh, I was pulling for Paul Giamatti and the Holdovers uh, over anybody else, but it didn't surprise me. I was like, yeah, look, Cillian Murphy's gonna get it.
Yeah, we all know because like he dominated every single award show, like award in the award season. So it was like inevitable that
Yeah,
he would really get there.
I thought, and here again, Jeffrey Wright certainly
Mhm.
deserved his nomination in
Yeah, I
American
love
Fiction.
Jeffrey Wright. Like whenever I hear his voice, I have to think about
Oh yeah,
the Watcher in What If. I was like, oh, the Watcher is here.
yeah, yeah. But
I really like. But
well, it's funny because I remember, I think the first time I really noticed him was, I don't know if you ever heard of Ride with the Devil,
I
which is
have heard it, but I haven't watched it.
yeah, it's a Civil War movie. Uh, but he plays one of the slaves who fought for the Confederacy, which is a really interesting, and they did exist. So I thought that was really cool, bringing in the fact that yeah, there were some slaves who actually fought with the Confederacy. Uh, but uh, I didn't realize I went back and I was looking at his resume though, is he was the drug dealer in Samuel Jackson's Shaft, and I'd forgotten that pitch.
I'm trying to.
But I thought he was great in this. I mean,
He's
I think
always great in every
yeah,
single like
yeah,
movie he's or TV show he's in.
yeah. But anyway, uh, yeah, some of the stuff I looked at, I said, okay, what is it? Um,
Oh yeah, he was in Westworld, and I love Westworld.
oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he shows up in
I'm
that.
so I'm like so furious that they cancel it, but I'm very happy about
Yeah.
the fallout.
Oh, okay. I never watched the series. I do have the original movie.
Oh, it
Uh,
was a movie, really? I
yeah, it
didn't
came
know
off
that.
of a. In fact, the movie was written by Michael Crichton, the guy who wrote Jurassic Park, uh,
Oh,
who's always very good at that kind of thing, where we think we have control of things, and of course we don't.
but like Jeff, he was very good, but also Anthony Hopkins was amazing in
Oh,
Westworld
yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
doctor.
That's a good.
He made me very furious in season three or two, both, but
Okay.
I still enjoy him.
By the way, that's the other thing you talked about, upcoming movies, is the
Mhm.
new Anthony Hopkins movie, uh,
It's called
which is
One, right?
also a Holocaust related movie.
Yeah.
Uh, but he's one of those guys you can watch. I mean, even in the movies that aren't very good, he's fun to watch.
hmm Or like
Uh,
in where was he? Rebel Moon. He voiced a what's the
oh,
name?
okay.
He voiced a droid in that
Yeah,
one. I didn't like Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, but I enjoyed his performance.
yeah. But
So are you like are there any more movies that you're very excited about to
I
be
haven't.
released?
Let's see. Those are the two that come to mind. I have to look and see. Uh, we tend to watch our stuff streaming now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we did go to see the new Dune, which I had to. Uh,
Did you like it?
I liked it. They did change the story a little bit, but I thought they did it in a fairly good way to set up the next movie, because obviously there's going to be a third coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And also
but I, I
the
I think
prophet.
my only thing is I would like to, one of the things from the David Lynch version, which in every other way was not very good, but was the notion of the navigators taking so much spice that it alters them physically, and I would like to see that. Uh, but I love the way they're getting into the connection between politics and religion and stuff, which is
Yeah, like
pretty
I
much the point of the books.
I like when I watched the first one every single week
Uh,
up until like June 2. And so every single time I had to like think about like like the Islam because it really reminds me of that like the religion that they're like following and the um the
Well,
the
and just the fact
books.
that you can, I mean, when those books came out, because remember those books came out in what, the 60s, late 50s,
Mhm.
the notion of a religion dominated by women that, that a male couldn't handle what they're able to do. I thought that would be the sign that you're the Messiah, is that
Mhm.
you can survive these ordeals. Uh, but I just love the way Herbert constructs a whole universe, his entire economic system, a political system, religion, social orders, and yet it's very medieval.
Mhm.
When you
Yeah.
look at it, it's pretty much the kind of medieval fiefdoms that were set up. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, uh, which is the brilliance of Herbert.
I just have to think about the worm scene because like
Yeah.
it reminds me of this like one SpongeBob episode with the worm and Sandy and SpongeBob. I don't know, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Okay. But the worms are really cool in this too. I
Hmm.
think
And the
that
popcorn buckets, like we sadly don't have them,
yeah. Okay.
but I really wanted to have one, but
Yeah.
we don't
But
have it.
the it was funny because when they were riding the worms,
Hmm.
my wife was like, "Oh, it looks like they're surfing." I said, yeah, pretty much. Um, but uh, but yeah, and it's got a great cast. I mean, you have
Hmm.
Javier Bardem and
Yeah.
you know
Austin Butler, I
Brolin,
thought
and
he's really good,
yeah, um,
and Florence Pugh.
mhm.
What's Ferguson? Rebecca Ferguson?
And the girl, I can't remember the girl's name.
Zendaya?
Yeah, yeah, she's a good piece of casting.
And
Uh,
Timmy is really good. Timothy is very good. I I knew he was an amazing actor, but when I watched the first installment again, or I don't know, I've lost count for how many times, but
yeah.
I every single time I get so mesmerized by him, by his by the scene where he killed this one
Oh,
person.
the guy at the end of the first. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's really cool to see. I'm very excited for the second one, but ugh, I don't know.
yeah. But
Also,
that's turned into, well, and I think the smart thing was not trying to jam it all into one movie. I mean,
mhm.
that's where David Lynch just absolutely went wrong. Uh, was trying to put all of this into one 2-hour movie. It's just,
Oh, okay.
I always said, I don't know if you've ever seen that one. What was it, from the 80s? I guess early 80s.
No, I haven't seen it.
But I always said the problem was it was too much for people who weren't familiar with the novels, and it wasn't enough so you upset both parties. You couldn't please anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they try and jam everything in, and remember, this series has its own vocabulary, it has its own
Hmm.
monetary,
Hmm.
so it's got, everything is different, and you got to kind of work your way into it, and understand the system you're working in. And to try to just throw that at people in little 30-second snippets, it's not going to work. And like I say, for the people who knew the series, it was like, but you're leaving this out, you're leaving that out. This is important, that's important. So yeah, that they made a good choice on this.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Dune, and also
Yeah.
like the Dune prophecy as well. And ugh, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the first part is like so introductory, but it's necessary so you can
Oh yeah.
it's like it I also love the world building. Like it's so cool to me. Like you have this like different um different cults. Should I
Yeah.
say
Oh yeah.
population? Should I
And
say
different cultures. I mean, the Fremen, or this
and the
indigenous tribe,
and then the spice. Every time I like cook, I'm like, I have the spice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I like
But
that.
and here again, that's one of the things they bring out, is the fact that, look, this is the only planet this stuff comes from, and it's got
Mhm.
amazing abilities. So you control Arrakis, you pretty much control everything else. Uh, which is funny because here again, you look at the influence that this, well, the novels obviously originally, not the movies because they came out after, but the influence of Herbert's story on Star Wars, uh,
Mhm.
where you have this sort of reluctant savior, you know, you're on a desert planet, you've got a spice, you've got this, that, and the other thing. It's, uh, but anyhow, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was one I was glad to go see. Okay, there you
Um, have you seen? We were talking about like Nick Cage off record, and have you seen a Dream Scenario?
go. No, no.
You have to. It's so good.
Okay.
I love A24 and A24 and
Okay.
Nicolas Cage. It's just a dream team.
Which is funny because A24 has seemed to have taken over the Weinstein spot, is coming out with some really offbeat,
Hmm.
interesting stuff.
Oh yes,
Was
I love.
that was my one regret. Was like, why couldn't you behave yourself? You had a good studio going, some really good stuff coming out, and you know, now the name is forever linked with like the worst sort of behavior. Uh,
But
uh,
I like A24. It's like experimental, also like very
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Like I remember like watching um what was it? Fresh for the first time with
Oh, okay.
Sebastian Stan. I didn't know what it was about. And then I
Mhm.
watched Fresh, and now it's like I tend to watch it every single time when
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay.
bored or
Yeah,
when I'm eating.
that's fun.
And yeah, I really like A24. I also like um Dream Scenario, and also there was this one movie. It's called Sharper. Sharper, I think. Also with
Sharper.
Sebastian Stan. It's really good. It's like it's by A24 and by Apple. And the reason why I said A Dream Scenario is
Oh, an apple. Okay.
because you told me that you enjoyed Renfield, and so did I, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
I just love Renfield, man. It's so funny.
I think the only problem with Renfield was bringing in that corruption of the whole police department thing. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, I could have lived without that, and you could have. To me, the focus of the movie was him trying to get out of this relationship, which I thought was the brilliance of it. And
The
then to bring
therapist.
in, the mob is working with the cops, and the cops are working. I was like, okay, we really don't need all that. Uh, I
But I,
guess that was to give Aquafina a little more screen time, but
yeah, yeah. That was my mom regret. I was like, Aquafina is so good, and you guys are just waiting her, like give her more
yeah.
screen. But I liked Ben Schwartz in there, and also,
Well, I think just having her in there makes it fun to watch. I mean,
hmm and
uh,
like she with her New York accent. And speaking of Aquafina, like, have you seen? Or like, there's this movie. One, she's in Kung Fu Panda 4, and two, she's also in Immigration, the
oh, I haven't seen that.
Elimination movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really, really good. She plays this like she has this New Yorker accent, and in
yeah.
this one, she plays a psychopath pigeon,
Oh, okay.
and you can imagine how amazing that is, like
Yeah,
how
she could
funny
do.
that is.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really.
I think the first time I really noticed her was in Crazy Rich Asians, and I thought she was just tremendous in that.
Oh, I love that. But I've known her since Nora from Queens.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I never watched that. Yeah.
I watched it really cool. And then like seeing her in Raya and the Dragon, hearing her in Raya and the Dragon, also
Hmm.
in G no, was she? She was in Chang-Chi as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Those I'm not familiar with. But no, yeah, she's got good comedic chops. So,
Hmm.
but
I'm just fangirling about her a little bit.
yeah, I thought the whole idea of the Renfield movie was just what a great idea.
And like
Just
Nicolas Cage, he's like
mhm.
playing the worst Nicolas Cage character in the way. He was so
And
perfect for that role.
I don't know if you heard this one, and I'm trying to remember what movie it was, but that the two of them, Nick Holt and Nicolas Cage, had been together in, was it The Weatherman, where Nick Holt plays his son in a movie earlier. so that they had actually worked together before,
And I'm
which,
also a bit like excited for Nosferatu after seeing Redfield.
well, are you talking about the one with Defoe
Yeah,
or the original?
no, like there will be a remake in
Oh, they're doing a remake of that.
like
Okay.
I think remake.
Yeah.
um it will be I think it will come out in October in
Oh,
October.
okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
But
I
like
don't know though. Because to me, I'm sort of against remakes in general. I
yeah.
don't think they usually help, and they very rarely improve. Uh, I think the only remake I've ever seen that I really enjoyed was the when Scorsese redid Cape Fear back in the '90s. I thought was a really good remake. Uh, but and speaking of remakes and parts of, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you, but the one movie I would love to see remade, especially today with the CGI that they've got available, as long as they could resist the temptation to tinker with the score, with the script, leave the
Mhm.
script alone. The script is fine. But I don't know if you ever saw Altered States.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it came out in
Or
1981, I guess. Um,
I was born that back
yeah,
then.
it's based on a Patty Chayefsky novel, which came out in '79, I guess. The not because I read the novel as soon as it came out. I loved Patty Chayefsky. To me, was one of the great writers of his generation for movies and TV and stuff. And it's basically, and he said he was inspired, or it was his version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mhm.
And it's a tremendous movie. I mean, the original is great anyway, but I'm thinking, God, if you redid this now with the CGI you've got, because the premise of the movie is that this professor, this what is he? I'm trying to remember his field, but he's a university professor who's trying to get back to the primitive self, that he believes that our primitive selves are still inside of us.
Mhm.
And he does get there, but to some pretty devastating results.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
no,
don't
no,
want to give
no,
you too much because I really recommend going to see that movie or watching that movie, and I'm sure you can find
no.
it. But it
Maybe
was,
it's under a different name in German because the German movie industry, they tend to change
yeah.
names. So I'm
Well,
like,
you can do this if you look up William Hurt
hmm
was the lead character in it.
okay.
It was William Hurt, and that was the first time I saw William Hurt on screen was in that movie. I was like, this guy's really good. So I started following his stuff. Um, but yeah, it's called Altered States, but really fascinating movie. And I always said, yeah, I mean, for its time, the effects were very good. But I'm thinking, God, think what you could do now. I mean, some of the scenes where he starts converting into this caveman type thing,
Ooh,
it's great stuff.
interesting. Oh wow, it got a 6.9 on IMDb.
And that's out of what, 10 or
Yeah.
okay. Well, I think it deserves higher, but then again, I'm prejudiced on that one. Well, I remember it was funny because when I went to see it, um, I think it was somebody who was ahead of me was going to see it, and they asked the girl given the tickets at the box office, well, what's this about? And she goes, some guy on drugs, and I'm like, oh, come on, it's so much more than that.
I hate it when they're like people are like kind of like like describing a movie and they're like, what's this about? And they're like just telling you a little bit of a portion of a portion of a movie, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to watch it. I'm like, watch the whole thing and then
Yeah,
judge. I'm
yeah,
always.
or learn to give a better elevator pitch. Uh, but well, it's kind of like you talk about that. I always love to say when they redid the Planet of the Apes
Mm-hmm.
with James Franco,
Mm-hmm.
that first one, I remember when it came out, and everybody's going, "Oh, it's about the because the Occupy Wall Street was going on at the time." It was, well, it's a corollary to that. And it's the uprising. I said, no, really, what the original that first one was Caesar was Vito Corleone. He was getting his
Mm-hmm.
mob together.
Yeah.
Because I'm halfway through. I was like, this guy's smart. I mean, he knows who to bribe. He knows who to threaten. He's assembling his gang in the smartest way. I said, yeah, this guy's the Godfather for primates.
Are are you planning on watching the fourth one?
I
Fifth?
saw they're coming out with a new one. I might watch that because
Yeah.
I find
Yeah.
those fun to watch. Um,
I like I don't like it's always the same thing with movies. Like the first installment is amazing and the second one isn't really amazing, but you still watch it because you want to know like what's going like what will happen in the next installment or like how the story
yeah,
will unfold. So now we're just at Planet of the Apes 4 or 5. I don't know. I
yeah, I
can't
don't know,
keep
probably
up.
number 5 in this series.
Yeah, probably. And
Because
like
remember, the original series had like 3
mm-hmm.
spin-offs. Tim Burton's didn't go anywhere, which I don't know if it was deserving of it or not. I kind of like his stuff, but it wasn't that big a deal to me that it didn't do any others.
And
Um,
it also like looks like a reboot, so I don't know. It will be
yeah,
interesting to see. Well, I think it's in May or April. But I'm very excited
yeah,
for
I think so. Toward the
Godzilla,
summer, yeah,
Godzilla versus Kong 2.
yeah,
And also like Ghostbusters,
yeah. I
new
saw that's coming out. That might
Crossing
be
the
fun to
Fire,
watch because I
Vampire.
see a lot of the original. I don't know. Is Ernie Hudson in that one, or
I think
is
so.
he still alive? He might have died, actually. Now that I think of it. Um, but I
I
like seeing that Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are in that one. But
I always have to think about that song, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters. Apparently, I can't type either.
oh,
What's who did you say?
Ernie Hudson was the black guy in the original.
Oh, he's
Um,
still in this one.
he is in that one. Okay, cool. Because John, or what's his name, Harold Ramis, obviously has since passed away, so he won't be
Yeah.
in it. But
Sad.
seeing the rest of them come in, uh, but yeah, I'm kind of going through and looking at. There's a whole bunch of just horror stuff. Now I see a new Gladiators coming out. I don't know about
I'm
that
very
one.
excited about that. Like
I
Napoleon.
am looking
Napoleon
for.
wasn't it, but Gladiator will be.
Yeah. Um, what's the one that's coming out that?
Civil War?
No, you know what? I got no interest in that. Just from what I've heard about it, I'm like, it sounds like
See,
it's a
I'm
bit
the
of a.
opposite. I'm very excited about that.
It's got some good people in it, but
Hmm.
um, oh, I just saw your Nosferatu though. Bill Skarsgård is in that, so that might
Hmm.
be, and
Oh,
Willem Dafoe. Okay,
yeah.
Willem Dafoe makes an appearance again. Uh,
Mhm.
but what's the one? Of course, we're going to have to go see Paddington in Peru because my wife is
Mhm.
Peruvian. So
But
have
it's
to go
really,
see
I
that.
love Paddington.
Oh, that was a really neat series. I really liked it. But what was the one I was looking at that I don't know about Wicked, whether I want to go see that or not,
I
because
don't know either.
I have
Like,
seen it on stage already, and to
hmm.
me, very few musicals translate well to film.
I
Um,
liked Wonka.
oh, did you? I didn't see that. Uh,
Yeah, it's really good. But I'm thinking about this movie. It's called Meganopolis, something like that. It's for Francis Ford Coppola's newest one.
oh, okay,
Yeah. I think it will be released either this year or next year. I'm confused a bit.
okay, okay.
But what else? What else? Also, like, it's a bit weird because like so many horror movies will be released in May,
I know. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
June,
it was weird to me how many
and then
uh
I get October. Like Saw 10, 11, Saw 11, um, Nosferatu. What else? What else? There was one. Remember the name. Anyway, so I'm very excited. Like I love horror movies, but
oh, okay.
but I don't like some like with ghosts and yeah, ghosts, pretty much ghosts. Oh, and spiders as well. I don't like that.
Well, then, did you see that movie? What is it called? Sting?
Mm-mm.
It's coming out. I guess it's giant spiders or something.
I saw Spaceman with Adam Sandler and Paul Dano, like
Oh, really? Okay.
voicing a spider. That was really comforting because Paul Dano is, oh, was it Paul Dano? Yeah, I think so. Paul Dano. He voices this like spider, giant
Oh,
spider,
okay.
but it's so like soothing. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. But nah, spiders. I don't like spiders.
I
Even
don't
though
interest.
my fear has gone like better because of American Horror Stories Delicate,
Oh, okay.
still like still don't like spiders.
Yeah, you're sort of out of my market on that, though. I'm not a big horror fan in general.
Me neither, but I enjoy like the classic like Saw not much, but like Scream and
Yeah.
that's it, Scream.
Do you know how scary that is to me that you're saying those are classics? Uh,
But like to me, those are like classics
yeah,
because
given
I
my
grew up
age,
with
though, it's like,
them.
what do you mean? That was just last week.
Yeah, no, but
Because I remember the old Universal Hammer stuff.
mm,
You know, with Peter
oh,
Cushing and Christopher Lee and all those.
there's this like old one which got a
Yeah.
remake, Hellraiser, I think that's the name. See,
Oh, yeah.
I'm scared of that, but like Scream is okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I tend to go more toward dramas. There's
Hmm.
some comedies that will attract me, but normally with comedies, I'm like, I can wait till that goes in streaming and watch it
Hmm.
then. I like to go if I'm going to go to the theater. I want it to be a movie that visually is going to grab me. And here again, Oppenheimer, Dune, those. Now the holdovers I had to see in the theater because I went to a high school like that. And so to me, it was like
Oh,
watching that. I was like, yeah, I remember those days. Uh, but and I really thought, yeah, the holdovers. Well, Alexander Payne he's a great director. He really does a good job. Uh, I mean, I loved Election. To me is one of my favorite movies of his. Uh, Sideways, of course, is what he's known most for, at least up till now. Probably the holdovers would be his big movie now. But Citizen Ruth, all those ones he did back in the '90s are just tremendous pieces of work.
I'm very excited for the holdovers and Dune
Yeah.
because I've heard like only good things about those two movies, so
Yeah.
I'm very excited about them. But
And they're vastly different. Dune
yeah,
is
it's like
sprawling, it's epic, it's all these characters.
it's like
The
Barbenheimer
holdovers
2.0.
is just these
2.0.
three people. You're really focused on the relationship between these three, and especially between the teacher and the student. It's a wonderful movie along the lines of you know I don't know. You think of My Favorite Year as another one where an older man is you know associated with this younger guy and just them learning about each other and about life and that sort of thing. It's really a great movie. Um, and also because I come from that period and that environment, I could really identify with it. Uh, but yeah, I think if you haven't seen it yet,
No,
and
I
what's
will
her
watch
name?
it.
Yeah, Divine, the woman who got the
Hmm.
Oscar was
Yeah.
just tremendous. I think my only complaint on the holdovers was that they had a lot of preliminary characters that I think they could have reduced to fewer people. Like I
Mm.
really didn't need to see all of these people. You know, you could have reduced the four into two or something like that. But that's not much of a complaint to me. It doesn't detract from how good the movie was. And just like I say, Giamatti will just, he takes so much pleasure in torturing his students that it's like,
Oh,
everybody's had that guy. Uh, I mean, like, and it won't give away too much, but I think one of the things in the opening I loved is he's handing the test back to these students, and one of them has an F plus, and it's like, that's got to be the greatest insult in the world. I mean, just give me the F. Stop with the F plus already.
oh God, that reminded me of like some of my teachers I used to
Yeah.
have.
Oh, believe me. Well, it's kind of like, and that was one of the things I loved about The Devil Wears Prada, is that everybody's had that boss. Just is insidious, just quietly menacing. I mean, just I thought that. And by the way, the other thing I love about Devil Wears Prada was it was the first movie I saw Emily Blunt in. I was like, oh, this girl's great. I love
Oh
her.
yeah, she was in there.
Yeah, she plays the secretary.
Oh yeah, I remember. I love
And
Robert's
I
product.
think she had the best line in the movie. To me, was I don't know if you how much you remember the movie, but there's one scene where she's talking to Anne Hathaway, and she says, what is it? I'm one stomach flew away from my target weight.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That
That
sums up the fashion industry perfectly. You've just done it all in one. Uh, but yeah, she just captured me from the moment I said this. It's kind of like certain actresses and actors have that charisma.
mm-hmm,
I think Emma Thompson's another one.
mm-hmm.
Uh, the moment I saw her on
Like
screen, I was like,
to me, that's like Adam Driver. I love
okay,
him.
yeah, in the
I
male,
loved him
yeah,
in like um Ferrari. It was really good. But
yeah,
also like who else? I love Emily Blunt because of her husband. Like I used to watch The
oh,
Office, and I recently rewatched The Office, and I love Jim.
yeah,
Jim, Jim is very. He's he's like my spirit animal. I'm the same like as Jim. But yeah, I don't know. I'm also like seeing like I really wanted him to be Mr. Fantastic as he
oh,
was in
well,
Dunkirk.
I'm sorry. I think that's another one they should leave alone.
Oh yeah, but they.
I think it's proven pretty much that you can't translate that franchise. And it's kind of like I have the same opinion, and I think they are doing a Hulk movie. But I think, look, you've tried it twice. The second time had Edward Norton in it, and if you can't sell a character with Ed Norton, then
Yeah,
maybe you should just give it up.
he's also one of the like with this like charisma as well.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
well,
trying to think. I think the first time I saw him was, and I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, the one where he plays the with Richard Gere as his lawyer.
I remember. I
The
don't remember the movie. Let me check. Let me ask
Yeah, I can't
IMDb.
remember the name of it, but that was the first time I saw Edward Norton. I was like, "Oh, this guy is good." Uh, I think it was it Insidious? Maybe
Is it Insidious?
I'm trying to remember now. I can't think of it, but
Motherless Brooklyn? No.
no. Well, at any rate, but yeah, Edward Norton is one of those actors, and like I'm saying, look, if the Hulk can't make it with him in the lead, yeah, maybe it's time to just say, you know what, he's good as a character in an ensemble piece, but is never going to hold his own movie. Uh,
In Fight Club?
and that's the way I felt, because like the first Fantastic Four,
No, he wasn't in Insidious. I just checked, or I'm
yeah,
checking. He was not. He was in Motherless Brooklyn, Fight Club, The Italian Job, uh, Kingdom. Oh wait, that's German. See.
it's like one of his earliest movies that he did. Primal Fear. I'm sorry, that's it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Primal Fear. Yeah, it came
Hmm.
out in 96.
Oh, I saw. See, it says everybody. It's like it's in German. It says everybody says I love you. That's the German name of Primal Fear.
Well, no, there is Everyone Says I Love You. Primal Fear came out right after that.
Okay, let me. No. Hmm?
It was, like I say, Richard Gere was the lead actor.
Keeping the
Uh,
faith? No, that's not it.
but at any rate, but he's one of those guys that really does a good job. I mean, Fight Club, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, American History X is probably. Although he also did the 25th Hour. I thought was a great one with
I also liked him in Glass Onion. Knives Out 2. Glass Onion.
I
He also
don't
has me there.
remember what's he did one that was very interesting because it was. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Oh, The Painted Veil,
Hmm.
which was based on a W. Somerset Maugham story, where is he in China as a missionary, something like that. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah. Oh no, he's a doctor in China.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, painted well.
yeah, but it's Naomi Watts and him were in that. Which, by the way, there's another actress that I love.
What's her name?
Naomi Watts.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Because she was, I'm trying to remember the first time I saw her, but, in King Kong, she was the Fay Ray character. Um, but what's the one she did that I really love? Oh, Eastern Promises with Viggo Mortensen, about the Russian mob in London. Uh,
Mhm.
but and
I
I
also
think,
enjoy like Nicole Kidman. She's
oh
also
yeah, yeah.
great. She was really good in what's the name? Expats. It's on
Oh, okay.
Prime. That's really good. Like it's like her child gets kidnapped,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's about these five.
Well,
Or,
have you ever seen To Die For with her?
no, but my
That's
I haven't really seen that. But I've only
that's a
heard
great.
good things about that movie.
It's one of those. It's a great satire on American media. It's just brilliant. In fact, the big line in it that keeps coming up again and again is, what is it? You're nobody in America until you've been on television.
That's so true.
And it's based on an actual event, and I'm trying to remember the
Uh-huh.
name, where in the actual event, it was a school teacher who seduced one of her students into killing her husband. But in this, she's this cable weather girl who does the same thing. And as Joaquin Phoenix plays the
Oh,
student,
I love Joaquin Phoenix.
high school student. Uh, but it's a great movie, especially just the way they set it up. It's almost like half narrative, half documentary or mockumentary,
Mm.
basically, because they have interviews with all these people because like I say, it's a satire on media, so obviously media format becomes a big part of the movie. Uh, but it was Matt Dillon plays the husband, has Dan Hedaya in it as her father-in-law. Uh, yeah, if you've never seen it, it's a brilliant movie, and I think it's the first one I remember seeing her in.
Mm.
But anyway,
I what was it? I'm I'm also very excited for Joker too, like with Joaquin Phoenix
oh, is
and
Joaquin
Lady
Phoenix?
Gaga.
Okay.
I'm very excited about
Yeah,
that.
that would be worth it. I wonder if they're going to develop, because one of the things I liked in the first one was the notion that he and Bruce Wayne were actually related by blood, I thought was a neat twist, where he might be a
Mhm.
cousin. Yeah, he might be Bruce Wayne's cousin or something.
That's
So
interesting.
maybe
We'll see
they'll
how
go
that
there.
will go.
Yeah, but anyway, um, why don't I go ahead? I see we're running out of time anyway, so maybe I should wrap up and
Yeah,
just thank you for having me on again.
thank you as
But
well.
yeah, it's fun talking about the Oscars, even though, like I have to confess, I wasn't that diligent this year on them. But
Mm-hmm.
well, I see it goes. But
We'll see.
here
I'm
again,
like, it will be even more exciting next year because we've got Dune Part 2 and there's so many
yeah,
other movies.
I see they're doing a new Aliens too, which we'll see
Mm-hmm.
how that turns out. That's usually hit or miss.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you're right.
anyway,
Anyway, thank you so, so much
yeah,
for
sure. Look
this
forward to
talk.
seeing this. Let me know when you're finished and tune in.
Okay, probably tomorrow. Or I'll
Oh,
put
okay,
it,
cool.
yeah. Because I'm going to watch Rolling Loud after this one. It's like this festival,
Okay,
so I'm very excited
yeah,
about that.
good.
Yeah, I wish you a great day, night, and
Okay.
evening, I think.
By the way, speaking of Civil War, I
Mm-hmm.
will plug my last book as a book about the Civil War. So if
Ooh.
anybody's interested, it's
I
actually,
mean,
in fact,
most of my listeners are from the US, so they will be interested.
oh, really? If
Mm-hmm.
you want, we got a few minutes. If you can, you let me share screen? I'll show you the cover.
Of course, I just have to
Yeah,
find out how that works. How does it work?
I think you just have to give me permission.
Is it this one? It's a white. It says whiteboard.
Oh, well, what I can do if you want. How about this?
Okay.
Oh, you found it or not?
No, I didn't.
No, it's disabled at the moment.
Oh
Well,
wait,
what I can
I
do,
found it. I think.
I'm
Yes.
doing this if I'm holding the cover up. Oh, there we go.
I think it's working. No.
Okay, so let me, no, no, you're sharing your screen though. I need to,
Oh, okay, okay. Oops. Mm-hmm.
you know, just stop the share screen on your end. I can just hold the cover up to my screen.
Yeah, just do that.
Well, it looks like we're running out of time. Yeah, if you just stop sharing your screen. There you go. But this is the book. It's called Heroic Brothers of the Civil War. And it's very short, has illustrations, and it's actually about two of my relatives who fought in the Civil War. So if anybody wants to read about the real Civil War, not the imaginary one coming up, there we go. Okay, well, I will go ahead and sign off. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but there's the cover. So, and I was really pleased that I got a retired general to do a introduction to it. Oh, you're muted.
See,
Oh,
I was saying, oh, that's really cool that you actually got to talk to a retired general and
yeah.
enjoy.
Well, he and I went to the same school, so I do have a connection of some sort. So I was able to talk him into it. Anyway, let me go ahead and get going. And,
Mhm.
yeah, you're down to about a minute here. So
Oh,
thanks
yeah,
so much for having me back on,
thank you as well.
and we will catch up with you at some other time in the future.
Yeah, probably. Most likely.
Okay, good enough.
All right.
Thanks much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.